Okay, so in this video, what we are going to do is we're going to go through the June 2019 Mathematics Paper 1. We'll take a look at these answers. Now, the very first 4 questions, these are your basic operations. So we'll just show the answers for those. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And the answer for A is 4,769. B is 2,563. 2A is 30,779. And B is 1,156. Lines of symmetry. Okay, let's see here. I want to draw a line. So I'm going to, can I annotate? I can annotate. Okay. So our lines of symmetry, we're just going to draw those in. Okay, and basically your line of symmetry is, let's undo that, is how you split this figure in half. The 2 ways that you can split it in half and get mirror images. So there's half. We can get a mirror image. There's another half. So there are 2 lines of symmetry. Okay, and that's 2 easy points. Moving on. Oops. It's not, it doesn't want to stay. So you get the gist of it. Yeah. It doesn't want to stay. It doesn't want to cooperate. But basically, it's the 2 lines of symmetry. How you can split this, the 2 ways you can split this figure in half. I'll clear that. Okay. The value of the 9 in each number. So in this first number, the 9 is in the 10th with the TH at the end. So the first place value position behind the decimal point is your 10th. The second is your 100th with the TH. And the third is your 1000th with the TH. So it's asking for the value of the 9. So this is 9/10. Then the next number is a decimal number again, but this time the 9 is in the tens place value position. So our value is either 90 or 9/10. Okay. A can, question 5, a can holds 350 milliliters of soda. How many milliliters are in 6 cans of soda? So the calculation there is simply 350 times 6. 350 times 6, so it's a multiplication problem. 6 times 0 gives us 0. 6 times 5 equals 30. For the 0, carry the 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. So our answer is 2,100 milliliters of soda. We'll clear the drawing. Now, okay, moving on. So we are to identify which fraction or percentage or decimal is either greater or smaller. In the first case, anytime you have a fraction with the same numerator, 2 different denominators, the larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. So in this case, 1/8 or 1/8 is larger than 1/12. The smaller the denominator, the larger the fraction when the numerators are the same. For this one, we have the ability to either convert 50% to a fraction or 3/4 to a percentage. So let's go ahead and convert the 50% to a fraction. Percent literally means out of 100. So to write this as a fraction, we would write 50 over 100. But to compare the two fractions, we would need to give them, basically make them, we would have to give them the same denominator, right? Or make it an equivalent fraction. So if I want to make this a fraction with the denominator of 4, so I can compare it with 3/4, I know that to go from 100 to 4, I can divide by 25. So 100 divided by 25 gives me a denominator of 4. And so whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. If I divide 100 by 25, I need to also divide 50 by 25. 50 divided by 25 is 2. So my numerator is 2. Now I can compare 2 over 4 with 3 over 4. And of course, we know that 3 over 4 is larger than 2 over 4. And then we have a decimal and a fraction, or a mixed fraction and a decimal. So 6.02 means 2 6/100ths. The 6 is in the 100th position with a TH. 100th is smaller than a 10th. So, and the whole numbers are the same. So the deciding factor is our decimal or fractional value. And like we said, 6/10 is larger than 6/100. So the sign goes that way. Okay, let's clear our screen again. Now, what we're doing is we're moving on to, we're moving on to writing this number as a product of its prime factors. 144, we know we can do a factor tree, but we know that 144 is equal to 12 times 12, right? And how can we write 12 as a part of its prime factor? Well, 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. And since we have 2 12s, we basically would write another set of 2s and another 3. So that's our answer. 144 as a part of its prime factors is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Okay, the square root of 144. 144 is a square number. So what are the two common factors of 144? It's 12. Okay, that was easy. Next, we're going to shade 3/4 of the diagram. So each column of this diagram represents 1/4. And we have 3 of them. I want to highlight. Okay, that's okay. So 3 of these columns, basically, and don't mind my shading. It's a little bit messy, you'll do a better job. But that's 3/4 of our diagram. Okay. Next, moving on, I'm going to clear all drawings. Equivalent fractions. Okay. So To make the first one equivalent, we went from 5 to 25. To go from 5 to 25, we multiply by 5. And whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So we multiply 5 by 5 to get 25. We need to also multiply 3 by 5. And 3 times 5 gives us, gives us 15. So our fraction is 15 over 25. Now for the next one, it's a little bit more tricky. Notice it's worth 2 points. So there isn't a whole number that I can multiply by 6 to get 9. If I wanted to get fancy, there is a decimal that I can multiply by. But if we wanted to stick with whole numbers, we can do this in 2 steps, right? We can simplify the 6 over 8 to find the most basic equivalent representation and convert to the 9 over and find out what our denominator is here. So I can, which factor goes into both 6 and 8? That would be 2. 2 can go into both 6 and 8. So if I divide 6 by 2, I get 3. If I divide 8 by 2, I get 4. So I have 3/4. Now I can go from 3/4 to 9 and find out my denominator. To go from 3 to 9, I multiply by 3. Whatever I do to my numerator, I must also do to my denominator. So 3 times 3 gives me 9 on the top for the numerator. 4 times 3 gives me 12 for my denominator. Don't mind my funky writing. Okay, that's just trying to maneuver this keypad. And remember, I said that if we wanted to be fancy, we could have used a decimal value to find out the missing denominator. That number that we could have used, we could have multiplied 6 and 8 by 1.5. 6 times 1.5 gives us 9. And 8 times 1.5 gives us 12. Okay? Okay. Next, we have some number patterns. So we have to first identify what is the pattern in these series of numbers. Well, if we look, they're increasing. And we want to know, are they increasing by a large number or by a small number? If they're increasing by a large amount, that suggests multiplication, which is not the case here. The increase isn't that huge. So by small increase, that suggests addition. Okay, so we know that we're adding. What are we adding? What's the pattern? So to go from 1 to 2, we add 1. So 1 plus 1 gives us 2. To go from 2 to 4, we add 2. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. From 4 to 7, we add 3. So the pattern is add 1, then add 2, then add 3, then add 4. 7 plus 4 gives us 11. Next, we add 5. 11 plus 5 gives us 16. And then we add 6. 16 plus 6 equals 22. That's the first pattern. The second pattern, the numbers again are increasing, but this time they're increasing by a fairly large amount. So what's happening is we actually, if we look at these numbers, each of these are square numbers. So we have 3 times 3, that gives us 9. 4 times 4 gives us 16. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. So next we do 7 times 7, which is 49. And then 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, it's that one. Number 11, interest. So discount. Buster Variety Store is having a 20% store-wide sale. calculate the discount on a bag that is priced at $80. So 20% of 80. The easiest way to look at this is what's 10% of 80? 10% of $80, and 80 is a nice round number. So 10% of $80 is $8. 20% is 2 times 10%. So 2 times $8 is $16. So the discount on the bag is 16. Next, what we would do for the second part of this question is it asks us the sale price. So if my original price is $80 and I subtract $16 from that, my sale price then is $64. Okay, John is 189 centimeters tall and Sue is 150 centimeters tall. How much taller is John than Sue? So this is your basic operation of subtraction. It's asking you for the difference in height. So 189 take away 150 is 39 centimeters. Don't forget to put centimeters. And then express your answer from A in meters. So we would need to know how many centimeters in 1 meter. So 100 centimeters is in a meter. So we divide 39 by 100 and our answer is 0.39 meters. Good stuff. Ben had $25. He spent $6.55 on lunch and $10 on top up. How much did he spend altogether? Well, this is an addition. $10 plus $6.55 is $16.55. And then it says, how much money does he have left? So we subtract $16.55 from $25. We end up with $8.45. Now, of course, you brilliant students, you're going to do the working, right? You're going to show all of this. Good stuff. Oops. So we have a mean, median, mode type question. Well, before we get into that, it asks, we have some days of the week, Monday through Friday, and the amount of rainfall on each day. That was a rainy week. So question A asks us, which day had 0.5 inches more rain than Wednesday? Let's take a look at Wednesday. Wednesday has 1.5 inches of rain. So if we want to find out which day has 0.5 inches more than Wednesday, we add 0.5 to 1.5. That gives us 2.0. So which day had 2 inches of rain? That day was Monday. And what is the modal amount of rainfall? Mode means which of these numbers appears most frequently. So that amount is 1.5. 1.5 appears twice in our table. All of the other numbers only appear once. So the modal amount of rain is 1.5 inches. What is the average rainfall for the last 5 days? So how we find average, that's the same as mean, the mean. What we would do is we add up all of these numbers and then we divide by 5. So I know the 1.5 and 1.5 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 2.5 plus 5 is 7.5. plus 3 is 10.5. So 10.5 divided by 5 gives me 2.1 inches of rain, and that is my average, 2.1 inches. Good. Okay. Next, we move on to simplifying by collecting like terms. I have terms, two expressions that are M's and two expressions that are D's. So what I want to do is I want to group my like terms together. So I have 6M and I take the sign that's in front with it. If no sign is expressed, as in the case of the 6M, we assume that we're adding, it has a plus sign, a positive sign. So 6M minus 4M, I'm taking out everything in front of the 4M. So 6M minus 4M gives me 2M. And then when I look at my D terms, I have 2D and 3D plus 2D and plus 3D. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So I have 5D. Next question is a substitution. We're told that X is equal to 20. So if I substitute 20 in my expression here, I can work out my answer. So 20 plus 15 gives me 35. 35 divided by 7 is equal to 5. Okay. And again, of course, when you're in an examination situation, you look at your number of points. These are worth multiple points. So because we're using a live worksheet, I'm just plugging in my answer, but you're expected to show working. So 1 point for the answer, 1 point for your working. Next, we're going to solve for C. So this is an algebraic equation, and we're solving for C. Let me go ahead and let me write this one out. I'm going to annotate again. So I know that 3C is equal to, I'm going to rearrange this equation. 3C is equal to 20 minus 8. And how do I get to minus 8? I'm subtracting 8 from both sides of my equal sign. 3C, therefore, is equal to 12. To solve for C, I then go ahead and divide each side of my equation by 3. On my left-hand side, my 3's cancel, leaving me with C. On my right-hand side, 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. So my answer, C, is equal to 4. Okay, and again, 2 points. So I'm going to show all of my working. Okay. Draw and label angle ABC equals 80. Well, it's angle, not triangle. So you're going to draw to scale, I might add, using your geometry tools. You're going to draw a line, and you're going to measure using your compass the correct measurement of 80 degrees. Okay, so this here should be 80 degrees. And you're going to use the right instrument from your geometry set to measure this. Okay, and then it goes on to ask us, oops, what type of angle is it? Well, this angle is less than 90 degrees, so it's an acute angle, right? So your answer for this next part, it's an acute angle. If it was larger than 90 degrees, then it would be an obtuse angle. And Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's it. We're all done. And we've completed this paper. Okay, stay tuned for the next video in from our math class. Okay.